New play. Zomedica starts its sales today. I'm going to grab a water and a coffee, guys. I will be right back, and then we'll get down to it. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Coffee's brewing, water's ready to go. It's Zomedica day, guys. Who knows what we're going to see today out of Zomedica? This is when they start their sales. Tomorrow is when apparently we may see a press release, but I'll be watching throughout the day for that. I don't see there are two new articles on Zomedica that popped up in my feed. So this is a nothing article. This is just numbers analysis. It's a nothing article. So there's no super relevant news there whatsoever in regards to Zomedica this morning. So yeah, I hear the SN11 just blew up. It should be filling the feed shortly. Twitter's probably the better place to go to see the boom. Starship SN11. Um, SN11 is not coming back. Don't wait for the landing. We appear to have lost all data from the vehicle. Your link bar, you can edit the single link so it just shows the logo much cleaner. Yeah, cleaner, but I don't always remember, and some of these don't have a logo. So I'd rather have it the way that it is. I barely use it, and when I do, it's for a point of reference. So, uh, all right. So we've got. I guess I better open up marbles here. Just wait till it pops up. Don't put in play yet. Wait till it pops up. I gotta pick a course, otherwise you putting in play doesn't do nothing. Elimination rate 92%. Oh, that's a long time though. 106. I want something that's got a high elimination rate but relatively low time. Hmm. I mean, I guess we'll do this one. Yeah, I mean, they could have done it differently for sure, but for me, it was irrelevant. I continue to know what they're about. I know their pipeline. I'm confident about the product. I'm confident about the sales. I love that they're the Xerox of this tool. I'm okay with kind of where they are. I understand the frustration as well, though. So don't get me wrong with that. But yeah, I'm not really sweating it. So we'll leave that for a few minutes, guys. You can exclamation mark play. I'll run it at 9:20. China approves the controversial overhaul of Hong Kong's political system. Expect there to be an evacuation from Hong Kong. They are removing the ability to elect officials for a large extent of it, and the lawmakers will now be selected by pro Beijing committees. Wow. And there's the death of democracy, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be interesting to see if they can actually get this to stick. ZOM riding off the cliff. 5 cents. Eh, 5 cents. Yeah. So, best way to do that is to go to Zomedica's website directly. No, I'm looking at. No, it's not delayed. I'm looking at my dashboard. It's 155, 156. Bid ask. Right there. 155, 156. Okay, so Trueforma is what they're launching, guys. It is a test kit that tests 5 different things. Currently, they have 3 approved. Essentially, what it does is you obtain the sample, add it to the cartridge, slip the disc in, and you get results in 20 minutes or less. That's the way that she goes. So this is their leading designation. Now, in regards to what else they're doing, because surely that's not enough to make everything worthwhile. Down 9%. 5 cents is 9%. It closed at 160 yesterday. I've got it down 3.5. Yeah. It's 9% of your counting yesterday as well. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Even if it was down 9%, I wouldn't be going anywhere on it. Okay, so that's Trueforma, but Trueforma is not everything that they're doing. Um, let's look at their pipeline. Where is there? It's going to be in one of their investor presentations. I just don't know which one. No, I don't want a webcast. I want a slide. Show me your slides. All your slides are belong to us. No, I don't want that. Pipeline. ZM017. Yeah, so this is the one for cancer liquid biopsy. So this is something that's coming down the pipeline that has approval as well. The big news release as far as this guy goes, we knew that Zomedica was starting sales launch today. We also knew that they had an initial sale that people are either completely opposed to or they're okay with. In regards to where's the preferred shares? Where is there it is. Okay. So guys, on top of the hedge funds that are currently invested in this thing, what was of interest to me is this. Those that were holding preferred shares gave up ballpark $40 million in order to take common shares. They could have just had $108 million straight up. Here you go. Here's 108 million bucks, okay? Sorry, it's 60 million they gave up. So $108 million is what they would have had. They would have just given it up. Here you go. Instead, they opted, you know what, we don't want the $108 million. We'll take $44 million worth of common shares instead. That was at $1.78. It's actually less than that now, right? Like we're down at 150 right now. So they have consider them holding a $44 million position in Zomedica at $1.78. Right? They gave up $108 million to take that hit. They're probably closer to 38, $39 million, maybe less, $37 million right now. They gave up what's looking like $75 million to do that. That's the big news that not anybody is talking about. That for me is the highlight. Now their sales starting is a huge deal. I love that. I love that. I hope that there's PR. I hope they knock it out of the park. But the fact that the people that are behind this, backing this, and supporting the Trueforma platform would give up $60 to $70 million to take common shares because they believe that the explosive growth out of this thing is going to be that huge, I'm happy to wait. These guys aren't idiots. I'm happy to wait. All right, marbles, marbles, marbles. If you're not in, you got 10 seconds. Let's go. Hopefully everybody got in. There's a bunch of you here. If I win, I will restart the race. I will not take the win. How about that? It does not look like I'm going to win. Apparently, it looks like I'm dead last. Man, I can never get out of these big funnels first. That seems to be the trick. Rock X and Olympians fighting for it. Man versus Pig in the back. Round and round. Oh, whoa! Did you see that? I cheated. Somehow I cheated, and I got all the way through. Yeah, go Millennial. I don't know how I cheated just there, but hacks. Somehow I got to the front of the race. Go, 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 baby. Go, 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 go. Oh, that's how I'm doing it. I'm just hopping the rails. Screw you guys. You take the long way around. I'm going to go this way. Don't let him shoot through. Oh, man. Am I going to do it? Is today the day? There's a long way to go here, boys. Long way to go. I don't know where I just went. Oh, I'm stuck on the outside, of course. RockX takes the win. Despite all my hacking and cheating, RockX still wins. All right, RockX, you get to pick, sir. Ticker is yours. Palantir. Rot roll. Palantir it is. There is no ZOM news. This is back early March when all of those who were holding preferred shares on Zomedica decided that they would give them up for common shares. So this is one of the major motivators for me, guys. Brutal case of the hiccups this morning. But their pipeline is also typically I can find an image of a pipeline here in StockTwits. I can't seem to find it on their site, but they've got a. Does this have it? Usually there's something here. Somebody posts their pipeline. I don't want to have to go through all their reporting to find it. I think they're done for a while. I think that they need to. Those stocks need that level of investment back, and getting a couple $1 billion back into your positions right now is difficult. I think that they've got a long way to coming back. I just want the pipeline. Oh, that's the bell. We'll watch Palantir here and then I'll find it. But they've got an extensive pipeline, guys. They've got a whole bunch more tests that they're going to drop on this. Um, they've got their so yeah, they've got the test kits. They've got all kinds of medications that are coming out. Their initial sales aren't them themselves doing it. Miller Veterinary Supply, which is like one of the biggest ones out there, is the one selling on their behalf, which is fantastic. Um, Palantir down to 21.20 at the gate. Pipeline in that article. To prove you're not a robot, press and hold this button. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Palantir down. Palantir down. Tayman FFB, thank you for following, man. Much appreciated. Let me know how you found the stream, what it is you trade. Okay, here's the pipeline on the rest, guys. So Truforma, this is already through. This is happening. ZM020 is a pathogen detection, urine and fecal testing. So this is poop testing and pee testing for all kinds of different things. And then there's specifically a canine cancer liquid biopsy, which means from their stool, they're able to test cancer. And this is at the same stage as the Trueforma platform. Well, Trueforma is now actually a little bit further down there in the market launch stage, but this is coming up right behind it. So, ZOM, stocky cult, cool. Do we even have that for humans? Yeah, there's a prostate test that does that now. Either through urine or stool, they can test for prostate cancer. But essentially, guys, they have a pipeline. They have other things coming down the line. There's actually more to it than this. This is not their entire pipeline. There's more to it than that because they have things for cats specifically as well that are coming. But yeah. So again, if people come in here, and for good reason, they're in that position. They're a little worried too. Um, know that my response is going to be, I know what I've got, and I'm happy to hold it until it does what it's going to do. Now, that does lock me into this position, like Share Lover saying, could be a medium, could be a long-term hold. I could be in this thing until Q4 for this to actually go. This entire page is now frozen. Yeah, for me, I'm sitting on a I am sitting on a 237 average right now. This is America. For me, guys, this is where those paper hands get shaken out. So we had the date today. PR didn't drop pre-market. People are losing their minds, and the ticker is down 12 cents. They've got this only one analyst on it. He's got it priced at $1.20. So all the analysts are saying not bloody likely. Don't count on it. Why not average down? Because I have $55,000 in it, Snipe. When you've got 55 grand in a position on a $100,000 portfolio, I'm not willing to go beyond that. No way, no how. $55,000 in a single position? Mm-mm. Not interested. Happy to hold. Not going anywhere on it. But yeah. Morning, Saki. Yeah. And as far as the hold game, there's a lot of people say that I'll hold it into my bankruptcy, but over leveraged in the beginning. I mean, I appreciate your insight. Um, this portfolio started with $2,200 last year. Book cost of everything that's in here is 107,000. I took 10 grand out, so I mean, you know, I am still up 20% on the year. Started this year with 50 grand, so I'm still up. I'm playing on bank money. I don't feel I'm over leveraged because I feel like, well, I don't feel, I'm confident that this takes an upward move when figures drop. Now, like you said, this may not be a short-term play. It may be a medium-term play, a long-term play. That's fine. I'm not racing to the finish on any of this, which is what makes it all right. DJOI earnings. It depends on how much they've actually seen out of their subscriber base. They were shifting people over to subscriber numbers on DJOI. Yeah, they were shifting people over to this new subscriber model. So depending on how many they were able to actually get that done with, they have been hinting that there's been significant sales to counties, schools, etc. for their COVID tents. Yep, I have been up over 100% on the year, which is how the market works. It moves up and down. You don't always win all the time, but with three sizable positions, all I'm doing is waiting for the catalyst to happen. Um, it's a different trading style. I was up 2,700% on the year last year. There were plenty of times that I was down significantly. There was a point where I think it was around when I was at 50K, 50K originally in the portfolio, end of April or early June, and I had 5 or 6 consecutive losses in a row that took it back down to 25,000, 30,000 level. But I held through. I held through. I knew what I had. ACRX could have completely obliterated my entire gains for last year, but it did what I thought it was going to do. Finish the year strong. Now, Does that mean that I am certain I'm going to make that that $500,000 target for the year? I'm not. I'm not certain that I can do that, which is why it's a target, and I'll strive for it. But yeah, out of those positions, there's not one ZOM, FTOC, and SNDL that I don't think is going to have upward movement by year end. So for me, I'm pretty chill on it. And I don't encourage that for everybody, guys. If you are playing with money that you can't afford to lose, then you're probably sweating balls on Zemetica. But that's just not me. I'm not there. Anything that I have in the market here is not what I'm living off of. I can do this full time, but I also have like 6 other income streams that provide inflows of cash. So this is not, this is a project for me more than anything. But yeah, I can wait. Yeah, the Nasdaq listing is going to be big for High Tide Taki. Big, 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 big. Essentially, guys, this is how people think a winning portfolio looks. It's either a curve like this. Whoop. My darn mouse is triple clicking again. So it's either a big line like this. This is how people think a winning portfolio looks, or they think it's one of these where it's you do this and then I can pull this. You know, it's some crazy. Oh, damn it! Or it's you know, some crazy upward trajectory like this, where it just skyrockets to the moon. When in reality, this is this is what it looks like. That's literally the last year and a half of my life. Up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. But at the end of the day, I started here and I finished here. I mean, from inception, even if I was to liquidate everything today, from inception of this portfolio at 2,200, right? Um, there's 70 grand in there now. Yeah, I'm up 3,000%. So am I playing Contra on Nintendo? No, right now I'm on the Final Fantasy kick for sure. Yeah, Claw is going to be nice. I've got to look at my options though, because I did take a new position in Ride yesterday. That's down. Genus puts her up. CCL is up. Everything else is down. 14 right now. Yeah. 18.5 down on the month. So November, December, January. Like I said, remember I told you that my portfolio dipped big in October. Well, dipped big. It was down 0.6, but it wasn't a huge gainer. Into November, October, December, though, the portfolio took its turn and I made my gains. Last month I was down 4.5. This month I was down 18, so I'm down 22% over the last 2 months. Okay. I can take months like these because I know that I'm going to have months like these.
Hey, Millennial, did you look at that list I gave you the other day?
No, man, I didn't do anything yesterday. I checked
Good, because
out and went away.
I was gonna I was gonna say good because I was gonna go redo a secondary search list because I got really fucking bored yesterday. But I was gonna do a secondary search list, but the thing I forgot to ask you yesterday was because you said that revenue, sometimes even distressed revenue, would be okay because there's like extreme circumstances, but they still have a solid company or product or whatever. Um, what kind of filter metrics should I have for these things? Because like there's like a couple thousand of these.
You're going to have to go into R&D is the line that you're looking for.
I
R&D
meant like
spending, that was the exception that the two exceptions that Lynch has made to depress revenue is if on the admin side you see a massive increase in marketing and advertising, or you see a massive increase in R&D. And if it's R&D, you have to go in and break down what it is they're researching and developing. If you are looking at the marketing, you have to see what it is, what's the product that they're looking to market, and keep that in mind for the following quarter. That usually you're not going to see the results of the marketing until the next quarter. So if it's a major rollout, be aware of that.
like
Favorite
the
Final Fantasy game. Favorite Final Fantasy game of all time is probably the first one that I played, which was Final Fantasy II. Um, Not the US two, the actual two. Um, After Final Fantasy II, it would be the 7 remake, 10, 7, 6, and then everything else kind of doesn't matter after that. The absolute
well,
worst, the bottom of the list, is got to be Final Fantasy 15. It's the worst by far.
I meant more from like a perspective of like exchange, index, sector, industry, country, market cap, dividend yield, float short, relative volume,
Yeah,
price.
couldn't give you those parameters because none of those matter.
Because he was saying that the travesty of whatchamacallit, of institutional investors is they can't invest in small caps because there's a lot of growth potential within those small caps, whereas some of the larger cap ones have already kind of seen somewhat of that growth. But he said that there was like a larger potential in the smaller caps. But I usually associate the smaller caps with like literal like less than 100,000 volume, probably like below $5 or sub dollar even.
Yeah, I mean, I would look at, if I was going to do something like this, I would look at it all. Okay, so Final Fantasy, guys. Uh, yeah, so 2 would be number 1 for me. And then it would be the 7 remake that just came out, followed by 10, which was the one with Titus, followed by the original Final Fantasy 7, and then Final Fantasy 6. Final Fantasy 6 was the last NES one, which was phenomenal. Um, and then really, they all kind of just grouped together. Yeah, Blitzball, exactly. They all kind of just grouped together for me after that point. 2, 3, 4 are all very, very similar. Same thing with 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 2 was my favorite. 1, 3, 4, 5 were kind of all the same ish. Same thing with 8, 9, 11. 11 was online and it was not great, but I mean, all of the actual ones 8, 9, 12, 13. 13 was kind of interesting because this is the first one where they really shifted the play style, but 15 was not great. 15 was really painful. This is the boy band one. This one was pretty bad. Apparently 16 is getting ready to roll out though.
He didn't use any of the debt equity price PEG or any of that stuff, right? Or am I crazy?
No, he doesn't. Yeah, that's not. He doesn't. You know when people go nuts and they're like, "What about their market cap? What about the amount of shares they have out there?" And I'm like, I don't care about that. He has that same kind of stance of like he looks at the company, he looks at are they making money consistently, or if they're not making money, where are they putting their money that they're not making money, and then he plays off of those. That's really the core of it.
Shit, because I did some light filtering of stuff, like which is small cap, over 100K in volume, because I don't want to be stuck in like really shitty volume stocks. Under $10, there's still about 1,300 fucking
Yeah.
things I have to go through. I,
Um.
I'd love to cancel out some of these healthcare ones, but I can't. I have to do sector specific.
Yeah, guys. So this is the next one, Final Fantasy 16. It looks like it's gonna be more kind of Monster Hunter style with larger monsters, still inside that Final Fantasy realm, but you're going to be a single character, so it'll be 15 play style with the roaming in the open world, but with harder monsters like Monster Hunter. Why FTOC? Because FTOC has announced that they are pairing with Payoneer. And I am hot on the fintech sector, and anything that is fintech in Southeast Asia, I think is going to be really, really, really strong. Um, so what we did before was I went in here and let's take a look at, okay, where's PayPal right now? PayPal sitting at $230 a share. Square is sitting at $204 a share. Let's say Payoneer is a let's be reasonable. You guys give me something that you think is a reasonable, they are half the value of something like Square, or they're a tenth of the value of something like Square or PayPal. Okay? Just throw that out there for me. Share Lover, that's one of the things that I loved about the Final Fantasy VII Remake is that there is an option for you to revert to the old battle style instead of just playing the new one. I played it with both, but that option to revert to the old battle style was in Final Fantasy VII Remake, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, guys, what do you think? Payoneer is worth what? Half of what Square's PayPal is? A third? A tenth? No more games. Appreciate that, man. 2 months in a row. You rock. Um, just ballpark it. You guys don't have to be accurate, but just give me a rough estimate. What do you think? It's worth 10% of what PayPal and Square are. It's worth 20, 30, 40, 50%. I wouldn't say more than 50%, but let's go on the lowest possible side then. Nobody wants to throw it out there. 20. Okay, so 20%. So 10% of Square would be $20. 20 would be double. That would take you to 40, right? So $40 a share. I'm in on FTOC at 13. 30%. Okay, well, that would be $60. See what I'm doing in my head? Even if it's only worth 10% of Square, the stock still goes to 20 and I make gains. Now, do I think that's accurate? That Payoneer is only worth 10% of what Square is? No. I think it's probably closer to that 20-30 mark. So
Do you
that's why I'm
care?
in FTOC.
Do you care if they do a reverse split? Because that's one of the metrics that I don't personally like.
I don't care. So there we are. The Medica is down 10%, and I am going nowhere. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's hitting the portfolio. That's another 6%. I'm down almost 40% on my portfolio. I'm down 20 grand in just Zemetica.
All right. So what do you think of this one? VRME, Verify Me. I've seen some of their products before, but well, as the name implies, but they're a digital verification system. Volume shit, but
Are they making money year over year?
I believe this was one of the ones that I picked out that did. Hang on, let me see.
If they have revenue growth year over year,
Beat on revenue, 36% year over year revenue. They beat by 0.4. They make 0.34 million. I said 0.3. Yeah, 0.34 million. They missed their EPS, but they beat on revenue. That was the last report. That's all it was.
EPS doesn't matter. Revenue is everything for Lynch. He doesn't care about EPS. He cares about revenue because his theory is that if a company is revenue positive over and over and over and over again, the EPS will come in line eventually. But if a company has positive EPS or they've got whatever else, whatever metrics people want to look at, their evaluation, their market cap, their all of that crap, forget all of it. If all of that's positive and they're not gaining in revenue, the business is floundering and dying. With the exception of, well, the reason why they are down as far as sales is because they're prepping the launch of a new product, or they have R&D where they're designing a new product, which is where his marketing and R&D caveats come in. So
Does Seeking Alpha give you a like a revenue growth thing year over year, or because
I bet you
sorry,
Yahoo Finance has it.
I was looking for. Okay, yeah, here I was looking for this. So, VerifyMe Inc. provides technology solutions for brand protection and supply chain functions in the U.S. The company's brand protection and supply chain functions include counterfeit prevention, authentication, serialization, consumer engagement, and trace features for labels, packaging, and products. It
What's the
provides
company
Rainbow's
again? Sorry. What's the ticker?
VRME, VRME.
Yeah, so there's year over year, trailing 12-month year over year revenue available on Yahoo. And so what you can see is 2018 they did 75 million. 2019 they did 244 million. Trailing 12 month sorry, 2020 they did 343. So they're
Oh wait, hang on.
showing.
Hang on before you continue. This is a low float stock and a theory. This is not investment advice. We are not advocating this company. This
I
is
already
just
did that.
research.
Yeah,
All right.
we did that at the start. This is a general disclaimer, guys. We're a bunch of retail traders. You're not to take financial advice from us because we're not offering it. This is just me breaking down how Peter Lynch looks at stocks. So if you want to go call up Peter Lynch and ask him what you should trade, he's a professional in the financial industry. You can ask him. But as for me, all I'm saying is Lynch looks at the revenue of the company. Are they producing increased revenues year over year? This company in 2018 pulled in 74 mil. 2019 they pulled in 244 million. And then 2020 340. That's fantastic. That's solid revenue growth.
All right. So established that it has revenue growth, but so where from here? Just reading what their prospectus and where they're spending their money, or
Well, from here, that's where Lynch would pull the trigger. He'd look at it and go, okay, gross revenue, steady increase year over year.
Mhm.
Cost of revenue is not out of control. Their gross profit is growing year over year. So 46 mil profit 2018, 199 2019, 281 in 2020. Okay, so technically that 281 should be a little bit more in regards to profits. You want to look at where's their spending, right? Look at 2018's research and development line here. 187 million they dropped in R&D in 2018, right? And then they collected on that in 2019. That's where that spike came from, was that R&D. And then they only put a little bit of money into that R&D in 2019, which is where you're seeing that nice gross profit from. But the following year they put 19 million, which is where that gap is. So again, like this is a bit of that qualifier, right?
Yeah.
So why didn't they make as much profit as their total revenue growth? Because they invested more into R&D, which for me is a good sign. So for me,
Gotcha.
This gets a thumbs up for a Lynch litmus test, from my opinion.
Granted, Lynch is I don't know. It said that again. That article really fucked me up, but it was saying that Lynch is looking at this like 10, 20 years out the line. But I've seen Verify Me digital signatures and stuff like that. It's next to like the secure sign stuff. So that's why like this one caught my attention specifically when I was going through that screener list.
Pull it up on tip ranks here, see what they got. Yeah, there's a $10 price target on this. It's the only one. But they've got stable growth. They're still investing in R&D. I don't see anything that I hate on this position.
Okay. I figured if I have any excess capital, if Lumen doesn't decide to screw me over, and again to Walgreens, I'd probably throw some at this just because I like what they're like. I've seen what they do, and I like what they do because in terms of like digital signature and counterfeit prevention and all that sort of stuff, they do. I've seen their digital shit. I've seen their logo before. That's why it's not like a nothing to me. And the only thing I agree upon with that article with what Lynch said was about how use your eyes, ears, and just people around you that you know that like if it's an everyday thing and you see it, it's worthy of like investigating whether it's a worthy investment or not. All right, this is going on the feature list.
Okay, so let's see news, guys. SN11 did blow up this morning. that did come through. It looks like CNR and Waco are selling non-core lines and assets, which means they are trying to meet criteria to allow the merger to go through without them being a monopoly. CNR has a big merger coming up. They have to sell anything that's non-essential, otherwise they're just too damn big. This is very common, guys. Do you remember when Cineplex Odeon bought out Famous Players in Canada for you Canadians out there?
Kind of.
On
Yes.
the agreement that they didn't have, because of competition laws in Canada, Cineplex was able to acquire Famous Players. However, a certain percentage of theaters had to be auctioned off to smaller chains, which is where Landmark Cinemas and Empire Theaters came in and bought a bunch on auction. Rainbow Cinemas. There were two or three other smaller theater chains that bought up on auction those extra Famous Players ones in order to create competition in the market. Now, I would argue that there's not really competition in the market in Canada. It's essentially Cineplex or Cineplex. But for the sake of saving face and saying, look, we're allowing other people into the market, they give them these. Now, what's funny is it's non-core lines and assets are the least valuable things in their portfolio. So essentially it's saying, sure, you can merge and acquire all the things that are of huge value from them and just sell off all the dog shit, which makes the company that it's acquiring them that much stronger and making the companies that are buying up the dog shit, well, companies holding dog shit. So Apple's virtual Worldwide Developers Conference will run from June 7th to 11th. I don't know that that's any big deal.
Actually, I see what you're talking about on this other company where it's like in 2017 to 2020 they had total revenue of 26. I'm guessing this is 100 millions. This is millions. Whatever. 26, 260 million, 333. Say 330 million, 210 million, 117 million all the
Yeah.
way till today. So they have declining revenue, but they have zero R&D costs. They have selling and general administration, which in the first year it was like 90 million, and then it grew to 100 million afterwards, which did grow with their revenue. But year after that, they only spent 80 million and they lost like 100 bill and stuff and
Yeah.
so forth. It's just like it's a continuous pattern there.
Yeah. So that's it. Declining revenues. Why is it declining? Is it because they're spending in marketing or R&D? If they're not spending in those, that means that they're just bleeding out and dying. Townhouse Crackers, thanks for the follow, man. Let me know what it is you trade, how you found the stream. Yeah, so guys, looking at the news, I'm not seeing anything super crazy. Nike's looking to smooth over their deal with China after pissing them off. That's to be expected. What we are hearing a lot of in the news, guys, and it's a commercial Cold War that we're going into here. I am just going to go use the washroom real quick here, guys. But if you don't know what the Cold War is, do a quick Google. And when I come back, we're going to dive into this. But we are heading into a commercial Cold War. So Google Cold War if you don't know what it is. If you know what it is, great. You're prepped and ready to go. I'll be back in like 2 seconds. Okay. So, Cold War. Everybody's filled in. You know what we're looking at. So, the way that Cold War worked before, it was political gesturing and maneuvering. It was your way to fire pot shots at another country without physically going to war. Now, a lot of people, when they think of the Cold War, what they think of is this, the spy game, right? Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Okay, well, what we have now is digital espionage, right? We've got China hacks US. If I look this up and I go to news, Chinese hacking spree, astronomical number of victims, preparing for retaliation against Russia, US confronts hacking by China. If I search Russian hacking, Russian hackers gain access to Homeland Security emails, Russian access, Russian access, Russian access. Okay, so guys, all of this hacking going back and forth is to acquire information. That information is then being used because we no longer see nations really arguing about territory. What we see nations arguing about, and the US is still arguing about ethics to some extent, but China doesn't really care. They just say, don't mess with our operations. But when you look at it, the handset, right? China acquiring the handset, the digital yuan, right? Where do you think the digital yuan is going to be mined? I'll give you 2 hints. You're only going to need one. Guess who's going to be one of the major miners of the digital yuan when it becomes a currency? Connor
What's to
Altair,
say?
thanks so much for the follow, man. Hmm?
What's to say they haven't pre-mined it already?
Well, China itself probably has some of that, but I think there's another one. No, not England. Mm-mm. Nope. I'll give you a hint. It's naturally cold there all year long, and it's the second largest country in the world. This little country here is built. Yeah, Russia is built for it. So we're right back to where we were in the 70s, guys. Wait, does that mean that we should just go look up how the market performed in the 70s? I don't know. Let's go take a look.
Melania, how many years do you think it'd be reasonable for like year-over-year growth? Because something like this, what I'm seeing, has research development expenses before 2019 when they launched. So like the total revenue was zero until 2019.
Um,
3 years.
I would say if there's a year of decline, you just take a look at did they invest elsewhere? Um, yeah. So guys,
This
for me, if we're gonna go back and we're gonna look at
this one's fairly new, but I know their overhead. I know what they do because I've heard of them before, and I know their overhead cost is fairly low because they're mostly a tech-based company. But for what they do, it's like it's not the best, but it's there's no competition out there.
so the start of the Cold War, 1973 through 1974. There was a stock market crash that was globally affected. For those of you that don't recall, go here to the big sheet, pop up here. You guys will remember in the last 2 years we had a bit of a crash. All right, so great. Check. Crash. Let's go images. Okay, so there's the crash from the 73, 74. Does that look familiar? This chart here, does that look familiar to you guys? Up, 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 up. Oh no, everything went wrong. Okay, and what happened immediately after everything went wrong? Comes right back to where it was, right? So this is the exact same as this. You guys see what I'm seeing? Yeah? Everybody's there? We're on the same page? Just give me an F in chat if you're lost. Okay, so then what we see is after it comes back up to this peak, there is a period of slow decline, but it essentially keeps going on this uptrend over the next several years. Now, oh, but if we're here, aren't we expecting to see some kind of a decline? Maybe. Looks like it. But ultimately, if you've got that ability to hold, right? Now, this is the market as a whole. What about my individual positions? Surely everybody was losers during this time. Top gainers in the stock market. In stagflation. It's talking about commodities, gold, silver. What's interesting is gold and silver was a major play back in the 70s, and yet what we have now is cryptocurrency. So this is telling me that cryptocurrency is going to be a major play as we move forward. So that's miners, that's machine producers. ZOM gapping back up. Yeah, so ZOM is now only down 5% on the day, which is fantastic. It's still down 5%. SNDL is up a little bit today, but ultimately I'm down another 2%. Portfolio is down 35%. But I'm not going anywhere. I know there's a lot of people that are just a little bit concerned right now, but for me, guys, it's not there. It's not happening. But yeah, so that would be one of the things I'm looking at, guys. This notion that where we are has never been before, and this is completely new territory that we have never walked through. For those of you that have been around the stream for a while, I did a complete breakdown in history of all of the crashes that we've had for the past 100 years. For those of you that saw the movie Margin Call, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's fantastic. But there's a speech that Jeremy Irons gives at the end of the movie, um, where Kevin Spacey's flipping out. He's like, "This is it. This is the killer. This is the big one. It's all over." And he's losing his mind, like chicken with his head cut off, running around. Ah, it's all over. The doomed world, dead, whatever. And Jeremy Irons, cool as a cucumber, goes, "What are you talking about? We've been here before. This date, 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 this date. All of these different years where this happens. This is part of the play." And the reality is, all you have to do is focus on surviving until the recovery, because it does recover. The global economy is not going to stop. Now, Share Liver, I think that's a fair point of like, there's people that are annoyed that you couldn't get in at sub $2. For me, I don't, and this is just a personal thing that's in my mind. I And I think it's actually one of the rules that I have in my journal. I open it.
Um, this method doesn't apply to biopharma, right? Because I have to look at their pipeline.
I wouldn't go near biopharma off of a Peter Lynch strategy. Him and Buffett both have a little bit of hesitancy on biopharma. If he has biopharma in his holdings, it's because he's paid somebody to do that research, which means that yeah, you'll actually have to do the research yourself.
There's
Um,
there's one that I found that has revenue growth, and they have R&D expenses as well, which they haven't really lost much, which is kind of weird. But they focused on discovering and developing novel cellular immunotherapies for the treatment of hematological cancers and solid tumors in the U.S. and international.
yeah, I mean, you have to realize with biodegradation is something that I'm committed to. I think that that's a practice and a thought process that I am committed to.
You mean
That
how wait, biodegradation as in like as technology advances, like they might become irrelevant?
No, with biostocks, it operates very much on a news cycle, and if they are between news cycles, so an approval or an FDA grant or something of that nature, the stock degrades naturally. So it naturally wants to pull down to certain levels. If you have no products on market, typically a biostock wants to pull down to the dollar, right? So,
Mhm.
and I say typical because there are outliers. Once you get your first approval, you tend to draw down to that $10-15 range. ACRX obviously is a clear exception to that, where they have an approved product, but because of other things, it's not there, right? And then from there, you become a company like BMY or Merck, where you're in that like 30 to 45 range, which I guess now is that 50 to 60 range. And then you've got the big boys like Amgen, Biogen that are up in the 200 range, where they just acquire pipelines over and over and over.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you're looking at with bio, is like, where are these guys on that bio chain? Are they first approval, second approval? Anyways, guys, with the not getting it at sub $2, this is the part that I come back to this rule of trade reality. It would have been great if I could have got Coke at $1, but I wasn't born, and that's not reality. So I just accept what is instead of what might have been. If there's I look back at the trade and go, okay, should I have held before getting in? No, I don't think so. I don't think if I had gone back and could do it all over again, I would have waited. based off of the news that I had when I took my entry, I would have taken the entry. That's just me, though. It is important to go back and understand your own trades and your own trading psychology, which is why I keep this journal on the trades that I take, so that I have an understanding of where my head was at. If your thought process, if you think back and go, man, my thought process would have been different. If you had cash now, would you average down? No, because of the size of the position in my portfolio. The position is currently 50% of the portfolio, so I would not average down. I would not put any more money into this. Now, what if I had the cash on hand and this was 20% of my portfolio? Yes, I would look to average down. Anybody? Let's see where Ethereum is today. But anyways, guys, with the Cold War being commercial, it's going to be about trade and it's going to be about crypto, digital currency. That's the next 5 to 10 years is crypto and digital currency. You're going to see a global push for eco off the Paris Accord. So you're going to see globally things like wind, solar, water, anything, the Captain Planet thing, everything except love. And even love may be marketable. So just be aware of that. Those are the big things that are coming down the pipeline. Green energy, eco, crypto, and there are extensions to that. EV is an extension of eco, right? Solar power, wind power, any of the miners, anybody that's building semiconductors, all of that's there. It's on the table, guys. It's all just sitting out there on the table. Now, there is also a global recovery that we're going to see, right? I don't think anybody would make the argument that the world has recovered from COVID. We're still in the midst of it. I think recovery is going to take 5 years. But as the world turns back on and we do recover, is there going to be more of a digital presence? Absolutely. But you have to also realize that there are new industries that are emerging. There's a lot going on in the world. As we open back up for international trade and travel, those sectors are going to be quite hot for quite a long time. So if you can grab yourself some of that on the dip, fantastic. No, I'm not.
Fascinating. Check this one out, Millennial. Triple U.
I
Universal.
looked at this one. Yeah, I've looked at this one before.
What do you think? So they do have a lot
Slight
of
revenue growth. They had a decline last year, but their R&D
R&D.
spending is really high, which means that it looks like they are getting ready. I mean, that's every year they're doing that. What does this company do?
They do protection. Sorry, hang on. I had it up for a second there. Where was it? Okay, yeah, here we go. So together with subsidiaries, designs, markets, and distributes safety and security products for use in homes and businesses in the U.S. and international. It offers a line of safety alarms, including units powered by replaceable batteries, sealed batteries, and backup battery alarms and smoke alarms, which includes hearing impaired and heat alarms, as well as carbon monoxide alarms, door chimes, ventilation products, ground fault circuit interrupters, and electrical devices.
So those fire alarms and stuff is actually a really good buy into fire season. I would think.
Says the company provides products to wholesale distributors, so I'm guessing Costco might be on that list. Discount and television retailers, home center stores, catalogs, and mail order companies, electrical and lighting distributors, and manufactured housing companies and other distributors. It also sells its product through independent sales organizations and sales reps, as well as its own sales catalog and brochures and website. The company was founded in 1969.
Yeah, I mean into fire. Share Lover, where does she work? Just the state. I don't need the city. Just the state. California? Yeah, so she wouldn't have heard of it because Miller Vet is only selling this up the East Coast as the initial sales. So as of today, it's available up the East Coast. They're going to expand across the country off of the initial rollout, but they wanted to make sure that they had the supply first, which is why the initial sale was to this guy. Because he has all kinds of ties up the East Coast. Um, he does have connections to the Vet Medical Association as well, but his big ones are the Texas A&M link to the vet university there, as well as uh, Westchester Rockland Veterinary Medical Association. This is upstate New York, right? Wealthy New York. But he has a fairly large animal hospital up there, 29,000 square foot emergency critical care special hospital in Brewster, New York. Um, well, he may have purchased a device. You better believe that the vet hospital he's working at is more than likely going to see additional purchases of that device. Their focus is on East Coast on initial rollout, and then as we go into future months, so if we see the success rate was quite high, they're able to keep up on the demand for the unit and the test kits. They'll expand to the Midwest, and then they'll expand into California. So no, I don't think we see any more offerings from Zomedica because they have $67 million cash in hand from all the offerings that they've already done. Their expensive operation on a year is $23 million. So if they had zero revenue for the next 3 years, that would be sufficient. However, yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was influencer marketing in the vet space. So while the mainstream world may not know who Jason Berg is, um, the people in the vet space in New York and Texas A&M, they know who he is, which is great. That's all I need to know is that somebody in the vet space who's well respected bought this, and that was their influencer. Except he bought it. That's right. They didn't hand him one. He purchased it. So yeah, this has confidence for me. The people getting rid of the preferred shares is confidence for me. The fact that you've got a company that's going from $0 to revenue, right? So you're asking about, will they do more offerings? No, I don't think that they will do more offerings. They have 67 million cash in hand. It takes them 23, 24 million a year just to keep the lights on and keep things going. I think that they've got enough cash to survive for 3 years, but they're starting sales of a product. I think that sales of that product is going to float this company moving forward. They will not do any additional offerings. In fact, what I'm hoping to see is sales on this device, on the TrueForm device, are beyond expectations so that it puts them in a position to actually buy back stock. I understand why they did the offerings to survive, but I think that there's a lot of opportunity in actually buying back that additional offering that you put out in the market, and I think that that's something that they may consider doing. But that's we've got to see the initial sale. So, like I said, it just opened. Price of machine and cartridges. So you have to understand that the main value of the TrueForma platform is time. Time is the value, right? So, have you guys seen the fast, cheap, low quality diagram? Okay. Have you guys seen this? This is something that's very, very typical for anybody that's running their own business, anybody that works in marketing, anybody that's ever run a business before. This is the triarchy. Okay, so what you're looking at here is good, fast, and cheap. You can have two, but you can't have all three. There's no such thing as good, fast, and cheap. Okay, so when you're looking at a product, it's like, okay, well, I want a hamburger. Okay, well, I just want it fast and cheap. I go to McDonald's, right? I want it to be good and I want it to be cheap. Okay, well, that means that you go to like a mom and pop fry stand and it's going to take a little longer. You're not going to get it in like a drive through, right? You'll have to wait 5, 10, 15 minutes for them to make it. but it'll be good and it'll still be cheaper than going to a restaurant. Or, right, you want it to be good and fast, you go to a restaurant, it's this delicious meal, and it costs a little bit more to get that done, but there it is. This is where true formalize is good and fast. Now, I wouldn't say that it's cheap as well, but you have to consider that time as well, right? So let's say you have a pet and they have a thyroid issue or they have cancer. And you have to wait either 20 minutes for a test to come back to let you know that, or you have to wait 2 to 3 weeks, right? 10 to 15 business days. Okay, so you wait 2 to 3 weeks on a pet that has aggressive cancer, your dog's dead, right? You're screwed because you waited the 2 to 3 weeks. Bad, slow, and expensive exists? Yeah, look at Apple. Shots fired. I'll take it. I was waiting for somebody to react. You guys were just going to let me get away with that. Yeah, so with this one, with UUU Redemption, they are always going to be spending on R&D.
My thing with it is that I think it's kind of a dead in the water situation because they had 50 years and their company has like how much more can their company grow, especially in this day and age where like fire safety and all that stuff is already mandated. So I don't see any future growth with this from a rational, like my own opinion kind of perspective.
Do they have a dividend?
I don't know actually.
That would be the only reason why I could see Lynch holding this because I'm of that same mind. Well, like,
he's not holding it per se. Let me see.
Revenue is just ballpark 14, 15 million. That's just where they are.
No dividend and no options, so you couldn't even cover call and create an artificial dividend if you want.
This is one where like the revenue seems to want to stay at that 14 million. They had an outlier year in 2019. But I mean, ultimately they've floated that 14 million for the last 4 years. Their R&D expenses are all over the map. So they spend, this can't be, these numbers can't all be in thousands because if they're only making 15 million in revenue and they're spending, oh, that's 691. Okay, so that's 1,000. Okay. Yeah, so they're spending, 600,000 to to $1 million. So they're spending a 15th of their total revenue on R&D. Their gross profit is really interesting to watch, where it's like, okay, 4 million gross profit, 4.5, 5.5, 3.7. This is not a company that I am particularly hot to trot on.
Like there's only so much because some of these like even with planned obsolescence, like these fire alarms and stuff like that, they are like a once a year ordeal that's like mandated by the city, and most people don't even pay attention to that shit.
It's a battery play. It's not.
It's like
you don't replace the smoke alarm. You buy a new battery. That's it.
Yeah, like you like there's no unless like we actually are colonizing Mars right now, and there's a shit ton of new housing that needs smoke alarms and all these other detectors. I don't see them actually as a growth potential. I see them just as a park my cash here and it might just kind of stay there, it might die, that sort of thing. But you couldn't even sell covered calls on this thing to create an artificial dividend. That's honestly, I think if they were smart, what they should do is if I don't think they ever had to do a share dilution, but if they did any sort of share buyback, use that extra cash that they have for a share buyback, I think that would make this just to boost the price. That would be good. But other than that, I don't really see a point to this one.
Yeah, I'm of the same mind.
For advertising expenses, that's gonna go under the SG&A, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Ethereum's up. Yay. Check my Ethereum out.
Already gone through 5 pages. Only 63 pages left to go.
Hey, I'm green on my Ethereum. But what? Yay, made $80. I'm up $80. Winning on my crypto. Options portfolio is down 3%. Equities down 35%. Watch list for the day. Let's see what's moving. Up, down, all around. Genus down 22%. Is that accurate? Please tell me that's accurate. Yeah, my Genus $1 puts for January are looking all right. They made up a little bit today. Damn, CIDM declined right back down, huh?
I'm still green on it. I mean, the last 200 shares I have, like I have a take profit order up at 1050 if it ever decides to like explode overnight again, or if some unfortunate sap decides to sell it, decides they want to buy their shares up there, I'd be more than willing to offer to them. But I'm holding on to the rest. I don't care. Like I see this as a cheap Netflix right now. That's about it.
Yeah, which sounds about right. Okay. I'm not seeing much else in the way of news, guys. It is going to be a beautiful 14-degree day here in Ottawa, so I think I'm gonna rock the shades and head on out. Did get the contract from the new stream sponsor yesterday, guys, so expect to see that banner up top showing up. But there will be a new stream sponsor for the next couple of weeks, so be aware of that. As far as the cancer charity stream, it will be a Saturday stream, I've decided. Still deciding whether it'll be 24 hours or an 8-hour stream, but it'll be one of those two. I will not be exclusively stocks. I will probably do some gaming, probably League of Legends ARAMs, but I will be doing that. I will let you guys know more details on that again, and there will be. It won't be next Saturday. It'll probably be sometime in April. But I'll let you guys know because I've got to set a dollar amount. I'm gonna put a couple grand of my own funds in there. You guys don't have to donate, but I do appreciate anything you can give. Again, the good news on him is that he is currently receiving his chemo. They were able to get it in. The bad news is that he does have leukemia that's confirmed. He has a rare strain of leukemia called Philadelphia Plus that complicates things, makes it a little bit more difficult. And on top of that, his leukemia has given him diabetes. So now this young man who went from being perfectly fine one day to immense pain, leukemia of a rare kind that makes it difficult to treat, and he has diabetes. So this poor kid is just getting beaten left, right, and center. So anything that I can do to try to help, I'm going to be doing it. But yeah, as for today, guys, I think that's it for me. I don't believe that Martini is streaming. No, she's not. So it's that time. It's that place. Here we go. Enjoy the degens. Make sure you drop the beaver if you're in there, guys. If you're not following, follow. I will be back 9 a.m. tomorrow. I know it's F Wednesday, but I will be around. So don't miss that. Abez with that 1,000. Abez with that 1,000. Abez, I'm gonna write that down that the 1,000's there, and I'm gonna make sure that joins the pile. But yeah, guys, I will have I'll add that into the thermometer that I build for the day of. But there will be goals at each price level. But I'll cover that when we get to it. I'll probably do some work on that this week and Saturday, let you know what that's going to look like. But enjoy Stocky. If you've got the beaver, drop the beaver. If you don't have the beaver, consider subscribing. I will catch you guys tomorrow 9 a.m. Later, later, later.